What is up, guys? MinishCap1 here. I normally don't do patch note rundowns on this channel, but in my opinion, patch 13.20 is the biggest and best patch that we've had in League of Legends in years now. This is going to shake up the meta, in my opinion, more than durability patch did. This patch is all about reducing snowballing and making the game more fun just for everyone. In general. And I think that that is something that League has needed for a very long time now. This is the biggest patch that we've had since Season 11 content dropped. I think most people would agree with me that in the last few years of League, we've had kind of a lack of content. I talked about this a bit on my stream, but I don't find that the Season 11 Mythic item update was that big in terms of how much content that we got, because a lot of it was repackaged old items, and then they took other items and then they restricted them behind the mythic tier, which actually locks you out of certain features of the content whenever you interact with a different part of the content. So like if you buy one mythic item, then you don't get to use other parts of it, you know what I mean? So it's like it was new content, quote unquote, but it wasn't like something that you could just pick and choose from. It was designed inherently around being restrictive. Thankfully they're removing that next season, but it felt like for the last few years that we've just had like a general lack of content, and then the trend of the game has kind of been gradually increasing towards being snowballier and snowballier, especially since durability last season. Because what kind of happened with the durability update was, especially after they got done re-adding more damage back into the game, was that what has happened now is, since every champion just got generically tankier since the durability update, the team that gets ahead really tends to stay ahead, especially after they put more damage in, because when they get ahead, they get levels, and the levels gives them more access to the durability update stats, and then they become harder and harder to kill. So even though people will have shutdown bounties and objective bounties, it becomes really hard to actually get those, because your ability to kill them decreases drastically whenever a team gets even slightly ahead. There's a lot of games, especially in high elo, this is a big problem in high elo, is junglers will just path straight to bottom. Whichever team wins the bot lane 3v3 tends to win the game, and that's very boring. And Riot has seen these complaints. They said that a lot of these changes were directed specifically towards top lane, or towards high elo, my bad. And that these are aimed to make the game time on average last a bit longer, make the games feel a bit more fair, and hopefully not feel like whichever team gets first blood plus a double kill gets to just win the game. Because having the entire game be decided within the first 2 or 3 minutes of the game, and you're playing like a 30-minute game, or I guess average game time in high elo is like 22 minutes, and you're playing a 22-minute game, not that fun, right? And also, I personally don't think that game time being so short in high elo is a very fun thing. I prefer longer games. I like having team fights. I like having macro decisions to make. I do think laning phase is an important and vital part of League as well, but this also addresses that as well, which is awesome. This patch, I've skimmed through this a bit. I'm not going to go through a lot of the specific champion changes. I'll skim through them though, just give my general thoughts without going too into depth on them. Because in my opinion, this patch is more about the anti-snowballing changes, and I think most people would want to hear my opinion on that anyways, as opposed to the champion changes. So here we go. Let's get right into it. So big thing here is we have the Jax visual update. His abilities are the same. He just looks cool. He just looks like a more modern Jax. I played it on PBE. Looks dope. Yeah, pretty cool. So champions, Akshan, movement speed nerf, E-base damage decrease. I mean, pretty cool. Akshan's had a very high win rate for a very long time, and he's been gaining a lot of popularity. So they're hitting him a little bit. I think we'll still be fine after this. The number changes aren't too crazy here. Cool. Bel'Veth recently has been going absolutely crazy, especially in high elo games. They are hitting her a little bit. Less attack speed overall, less damage reduction on her little, like, whatever that ability is, or she just like stabs the ground a bunch. I think her fish are going to be a little bit tankier. Yeah, so for the first 2 levels they're gonna be a little bit less tanky, and then level 16 they will be more tanky, which is cool. I mean, I think the fish in her ultimate, I wish that was something that they experimented more with her, in terms of her, like, her champion fantasy. She ended up just kind of being like a fighter that dashes all around, which I think League has plenty of that, and I wish that they had kind of experimented more with making her like a real like swarm. So she summons a swarm of void fish, the remoras, and just like barrels down. I think that would have been super cool. But that being said, she's still a cool champion in my opinion. I think her design's pretty dope. Sorry, whoops, didn't mean to do that. I think her design is pretty dope, and she's too strong, and they're nerfing her. So, very cool. Galio buff. Galio's been garbage for a long time. Is getting some more buffs this patch. Awesome. Jinx. Jinx is getting a health growth buff. Her ultimate is getting cooldown buffs and damage buff. Wait, actually, yeah, and damage buffs to the ratio, the initial ratio, not the missing health ratio, just the initial ratio. That's kind of cool. And her passive now stacks multiple times if she gets to proc it multiple times in a fight. So expect to see a lot of crazy attack speed Jinx. It'll be interesting to see. Cassante rework, basically they're just making him a little bit less annoying to play against, especially in pro play and high-elo games. Cool. I mean, this is another champion where I think the design is cool, but I don't think that it worked before this rework, at least, very well. Because it felt like playing versus like Superman or like Batman on steroids, where he could just have an answer for literally everything that you ever did, and you could outplay all of his abilities, it would seem like, and then he would still have like other options to keep like fighting you, and it just didn't really feel very fair. So I'm glad they're reworking him. I think it does say a lot about Riot Games' design approach to things, especially in the champion design department, when they are reworking a champion entirely, almost from the ground up, within their first year. Cassandra came out I guess, yeah, no, he came out last November, right? And it's currently October, so within a year of the champion even being out, I think that's, yeah. I'm glad they're doing it, but good job, Riot. I'll leave it at that. Kaisa, slight nerf, no one cares. This is literally just a win rate nerf. That's all. She will still be very strong, even if she loses through armor level 1. Cool. Because bear in mind, they're also changing starting item stats, which I'll get into, which will help her a bit here as well. So either way, win rate nerf for Kaisa, cool. Milio sucks. I love playing him. I think Milio's a cool champion, but they're buffing him up a little bit on his passive E and R. Cool, dope, he needs it. Morgana getting a bit of a mini update here, which I think is awesome. Her W is going to get increased damage to monsters, increased ratio per tick. That is really cool. And then her Black Shield cooldown is going up slightly at early levels before evening out to level 16 at 5. Cool, whatever. They want to make her less of a shield bot and more of a CC / damage mage thing. Awesome. I think Morgana is a cool champion. She is, I believe, one of the original 40 champions, and yeah, she deserves some love. You really don't ever see her at all. And they're going to give her ultimate movement speed in all directions, as opposed to movement speed just towards enemies that she's caught, which is cool. So it'll be easier for her to catch people in her ultimate. The stun is going up by 0.25 at level 2 and by 0.5 at level 3. Cool. And then the damage, the base damage is up by 25 all ranks and 10% AP. These are big. All right, nobody be mistaken. These are big Morgana buffs. Expect to see Morgana in your games. These are big. Quinn nerfs, cool. They're also nerfing Fleet Footwork slightly. Cool. Yeah, I don't like playing versus Quinn. I think she's a cool champion though. I'm not gonna let my bias against ranged top laners affect that. If she's overpowered, she gets nerfed. Cool. Sucks for Quinn mains, but it is what it is. ZW Living Shadow cooldown is getting increased because of his ability haste build. Awesome. Zed should have to play like an assassin, not like a mage with huge amounts of wave clear just to get Ravenous Hydra. By the way, did you know that Ravenous Hydra has, I believe, 25 ability haste? I don't know. Ravenous Hydra has a crazy amount of ability haste, though. And I'm excited to see how they deal with that item in preseason, if they deal with it at all. See how it goes. Ziggs Bouncing Bomb Q hitbox is up by from 150 to 180. Cool. Makes him a little bit more reliable. I think that's awesome. He's playable, not like the most, I guess, strong champion ever, but yeah, cool. Items, I will skim over these as well. If I have one where I'm going to try to give bigger thoughts on, I will do that. I think one of them is Blighting Jewel. So Blighting Jewel is getting a cost reduction by 150 gold, but the item itself, the stats are the same, and the Void Staff price is the same. I think honestly right now in League of Legends, it has been this way for a while. Almost universally, AP items are just designed way worse and with less care and less attention to detail than AD items. I think most people would agree with that. AP items tend to be more boring. They just They tend to have less I guess versatility is the wrong word, variety. They tend to have less variety in what you're allowed to build. For example, a champion like Singed builds the same core items as a champion like Ziggs, which is crazy ridiculous. Like Ziggs likes Rallies and Demonic, and guess what? Singed also likes Rallies and Demonic. I don't think that that's very fair to either champion, because then you have items that are balanced for both classes, and then both classes have to suffer. The classes being AP Bruiser for Singed and Mage for Ziggs. Whereas the opposite is true for a class such as AD Bruisers and AD Assassins. So Darius has a completely different set of items that he can buy as opposed to a champion like Pyke, for example, or Talon. Even though they both deal physical damage, they have unique items for their own classes that AP champions don't get to have. Like Fizz buys the same set of items as like Diana, you know what I mean? Like that's just it feels wrong. It shouldn't those champions do different things. It shouldn't be that way. It should be closer to what AD Bruisers have with other AD champion classes, where they have each have their own unique set of items to buy from. I think that would be cool. Change for AP items. Either way, Lighting Jewel sucks. They're buffing it. Awesome. Duskblade, very OP item still, even after the repeated nerfs. They're reducing the ability haste by 5. Awesome. Less Duskblade in League is a good thing in my opinion. I don't think that 30-second cooldown vulnerability is very fair. At least Zanya's is a 2-minute cooldown, and you cannot even move during it. Whereas with Duskblade, you can still move, you can still get heals and stuff like that. You can like get shields and everything. It's just not, in my opinion, badly designed item, but cool, whatever. They're nerfing it. They know it's OP. The ability haste is going down, and the damage amp is also going down by 2%. Awesome. Lord Dom, slight nerf from 25 to 22%. Every single melee champ in the game will love this change because it means you'll just get shredded a little bit less fast from a distance from late game AD carry. But the other thing is that the item will now deal appropriate damage to shields, which it was not doing before. It will now count shields as health. So if you are full health and you get a massive shield from like your Karma or something, this LDR is going to hit you quite a bit harder than before, so be aware of that. It is both a buff and a nerf to Lord Doms. I think overall it makes the item more fair to play against, also more predictable, which is good. That's good. Yomu's slight buff because they are nerfing the other lethality mythic. Why did I click that? I'm sorry. Because they are nerfing Duskblade. Whatever, cool. All right, here we go. Here we go, guys. The anti-snowballing changes. These are the big ones. This is what we have needed for a very, 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 very long time in League. So, it starts with Smite. I've already seen these changes a lot of times before because I've been reviewing these changes a lot over the last few weeks as they've been coming out through Twitter, through PBE updates, and just through Reddit and stuff like that. And I've been really hyped for this patch, but jungle in general is going to be getting a very large set of, I guess not large nerfs, but it is going to be a sweeping set of nerfs. So each individual nerf is not huge, but there's a lot of nerfs that are happening because Riot has agreed that jungle is by far and away the most powerful role in the game. And according to what Riot Freak said, it was not even close. I'm not sure what the exact measurement is that they were using, but this year jungle is actually slightly weaker than it was last year. But even this year, jungle has, according to Riot Freak, and again, I don't know what the specific measurements are that they used, but jungle has a 20% higher level of agency than every other role in the game. That includes what is, in my opinion, the second most powerful role in the game, support. So if you think about how powerful support can be, especially in high elo, and then you think about jungle being 20% stronger than that, then you consider the state of top lane and the state of AD carry at times, in my opinion. And think about jungle being 20% stronger than even support. How strong must jungle have been compared to top lane, especially, for them to finally say, hey, enough is enough, we're going to bring the power level down. It feels like for the longest time, especially in high elo games, that top lane has just been, it's just been a spectator role, and jungle being so strong as a result of that. It's a reason for that. It's not the whole reason, but it is a reason. Because what happens is top laners tend to play champions that are better after laning phase. Top lane champions, they like to brawl, they like to skirmish, like the team fight. But there's not a lot of objectives in the top side compared to the bot side. And that bot lane tower does not have tower plates. If you get a gank off in bot lane, then you can get multiple kills and tower plates, and then you have control over Dragon. Dragon, much more valuable overall than Rift Herald in the course of a game, because the buff is always there. It's always active. It matters way more. And Rift Herald will get you some tower plates, yeah, but it's not as powerful as Dragon. Plus, Dragon it spawns sooner, right? There's more of them. You get 2 Rift Heralds maybe, and they despawn. Dragon keeps coming over the course of the entire game, and they spawn sooner than Herald as well, right? So it's like it's just a more powerful objective. So there's been a lot less incentive for junglers to play near top side, especially because top lane also has protection on turret plates, which is a good thing. But yeah, that being said, Smite is getting nerfed. Good. Smite is getting nerfed. Damage Champions is going down from 20 to 60, levels 1 to 18, down to 40 at all levels. In my opinion, Smite should have never been able to be used on champions, because it's sort of a jack of all trades whenever you have it upgraded. Like Red Smite will have multiple effects to like reduce damage taken, increase damage that you deal to them. Blue Smite with the true damage and the slow. Even the Green Smite dealing damage was kind of like, does it really need to do that? Like, Riot even said, I think Riot Freak even said this in his patch note rundown, is that Smite, it just does too many things. Like when Smite was doing a huge amount of true damage, but Ignite was dealing only a little bit more, and Ignite can only be used on champions, but Smite can be used on monsters, has a 15-second recharge time and a much lower cooldown. That doesn't seem very fair to other summoner spells, and just overall the power level of Smite was too high. So Smite is getting a slight nerf here in terms of damage champions. It will be higher early game, but much lower later in the game, thankfully. So that's cool. The area effect of Primal Smite is getting higher, so you can probably almost one-shot the Raptor camp and the Wolf camp later in the game. Kind of cool, because the area effect is going to be 100% as opposed to 50% of the damage. And then we are going to also have, what is this? Okay, so if you now what's going to happen is if there's like a giant Cho'Gath standing on top of Baron and you're trying to smite it, what you can now do instead is you can smite the air, and it will auto-target the Baron, which is cool. It will auto-target epic monsters. So if they have like a big-ass like Cho'Gath and a Nautilus standing on top of the Baron, and you can't like click it, you can just smite on nothing, and it will auto-target the Baron or the Herald or the Dragon, whatever, which is good change. Awesome, dope. Smite will no longer... I did not even know that Smite was considered a spell proc. Wow, it used to trigger Demonic Embrace for real? Damn. Okay, alright, so now Smite will no longer trigger item effects that are on spell, such as Demonic Embrace. Cool. I had no idea. Jungle Companion upgrades. Junglers will no longer take... Did you know this? Junglers now will not take 20% less damage from epic monsters when 2 or more allies are nearby. This means epic monsters such as Dragon, Herald, Baron are going to be harder to kill. Most people don't even know that junglers used to take reduced damage from epic monsters when there were people near them, and now that's gone. So that's cool. Just less overall of jungle being like superhero syndrome, in my opinion. I think it's a good thing for the game. Gustwalker movement speed is crazy. I'm glad they're nerfing it. Gustwalker used to give 45% move speed after you exited a bush, and 60% whenever you killed a monster is going down to 30% after leaving a bush, and then killing the monster is 45%. Thank you, Riot. This is such a good change. Gustwalker is crazy. Just yesterday, I had a game where my ally Xin ran out of a bush with Gustwalker, and then ran down a Teemo who had move quick, and jumped on him and killed him. And the Teemo was like really far away from him. Like Xin was near the mid lane river bush on the left side, and Teemo was like by the Baron exit and running towards his turret, and Xin literally caught him. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Didn't use flash or anything, no ghost, nothing like that. Just ran at him with Gustwalker. It was crazy. So glad they're nerfing this. Moss Stomper no longer has some tenacity or slow resist, so Moss Stomper is going to be really bad. I mean, it already was kind of worse than their ones, but now it's going to be worse because I think Riot is predicting that tank junglers will be like on the up, because tank junglers are going to be a bit of a winner this patch for other reasons I'll show you in a second. But yeah, shield's going down on Moss Stomper and no more tenacity and slow resist. Cool. Scorch Claw, it is going to not trigger off of any damage, but only from attacks and spells. It's not going to trigger off of smite itself. So you can't just charge up your Scorch Claw and then just run over and smite someone, or just run over if you're like Karthus and like ignite someone and then smite them and just trigger out all of your Scorch Claw damage. I don't think Karthus actually goes Scorch Claw, but that's the best example I can think of on the spot. So just some slight nerfs to all of the smites, and the biggest nerf obviously to Gustwalker because it is really broken. I'm glad they're nerfing it. Camp health. All right, so on the whole, camp health is it is going down. Is it going down? Okay, so these camp health changes are changing. Essentially, what you need to know is that camps are going to be harder for laners to steal, because camps are going to have in general higher tankiness to laners. But with the way that jungle damage is being changed, junglers will deal mostly the same damage to them, and this is being done so that junglers don't have laners stealing their camps as much, especially past laning phase, and especially when they're behind, because a lot of junglers' complaints is that, hey, you know, if my laners get behind, then my camps all get stolen and I can't play the game anymore. Fair enough. Okay, that's a valid complaint. So this is to make it a lot harder for laners to take them, whereas junglers will still deal the normal amount of damage to them through the use of their pets. So yeah, that's cool. They're also going to be healing less, because right now Riot believes that junglers don't take enough damage in the jungle, so whenever you kill one, the heal is going to be a bit smaller, which I think is cool. I think that's a good thing. Rift Scuttler, are they changing it? I don't think Rift Scuttler is actually getting changed that much. Yeah, so the health is going up. The gold given is actually going up later in the game, which is cool. And the experience is actually going quite a bit. So for the most part, Scuttle is, because it's hard to kill, it's going to give a little bit more golden XP. I think it should just be mostly the same in terms of how much they're contesting it. So yeah, that's cool. I think that's dope. Dope. Okay. Here is monster AD and champ clear health changes, or champion clear health. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about before with the monsters will be healing you a bit less, which I think is good. So currently sustained jungle here, read this right here. Health store on large monster kill is currently 30 to 166, up to 2.25 times that based on missing health, and now it's only gonna be 12% missing health at all times. So a little bit less healing on average. Same thing with mana restore, just a little bit less mana restore on average. I think that's fine. Let me read this. Yeah, so there is a cap on the pet healing per second, which is good. Monster AD overall is going a bit down because there is lower healing. Okay, cool. Yeah, good changes overall. Good changes. Companions will scale equally as well, regardless of whether their owner itemizes health, armor, or magic resist. So if you don't have a jungle pet, it's going to be way harder for you to clear, I think is what they wanted to go for. But we're lowering the conversion of offensive stats, AP and AD, into pet damage, since they already increase clear speed on their own. So this is definitely a big buff to tank junglers again. So health, armor, and MR are going to increase your clear speed, whereas AD and AP are going to decrease your clear speed. Oh boy. All right, yeah, definitely some tank jungle buffs. But in general, people can also make the argument that like jungle, because of the way that it works, like AD and AP champions clearing way faster than tank junglers makes so that tank junglers have a hard time competing, because not only do the AD and AP champions, especially AD champions because they can auto attack consistently, have way faster clears, they have a higher carry potential, they scale better. It's just like, then what chance in the game is there for a tank jungler to even like really play? You don't really see tank junglers that often at all. outside of competitive play. Like, they're basically just gone from high elo and solo queue for the most part. So honestly, good change. Let me see what the exact number is on the conversion for AD and AP though. So 12% AP, 10% bonus. AD is being changed. Removing the bonus AD entirely down to 10% AP. So I think this is because they just think that AD champions in the jungle will just clear faster even than the AP champions by a huge margin. Which is fair. They kind of do, so. Awesome. A bit of a smaller radius on the damage radius for the pet. That's cool. The heal is actually still 70% of damage dealt, but the camps are going to be dealing a little bit higher damage, but... Or no, lower damage, actually. Just harder to kill. Okay. Cool. The champion heal per second from the actual pet itself is capped at 12 to 45 from levels 1 to 12. Okay. Cool. Here are the anti-poaching adjustments that people were talking about before. Jungle item bonus damage to non-epic monsters is going from 20 to 42%. So even though monsters on average are getting way tankier, your jungle item makes it so that it is about the same for you to kill them. They're getting more armor and more MR, again, to make it harder for laners to kill them. Awesome. Dope. This is different, and there's a bug fix here as well. So lane minion experience adjustment for junglers. The let me read this first, actually. Will be implementing changes to disincentivize junglers from poaching lane minions. Cool. So they want to make it so that junglers can't steal lane, or like, I guess, catch up from lane minions as often. A lot of time what happens right now is, imagine you're playing mid lane and you're playing like Talon, and then you solo kill the enemy, I guess like Yasuo or something, right? Because you're slow pushing the wave and then you crash the wave. Well, your jungler can take this as an opportunity to just like know that you're already winning your lane and then path for a different lane. But what about the enemy jungler? The enemy jungler will see that you have a massive wave crashing into the turret and then just come and soak these minions, right? So what they're doing here is basically they are changing the catch-up experience so that jungler is going to be getting less experience overall. About 8% less minion experience in the early and mid game whenever they decide to soak experience like that. Because if the enemy jungler is going to soak up that big-ass wave, even though your jungler is doing everything right, and their jungler is stopping clear to get minion XP, their jungler will currently get ahead of your jungler from that experience and gold that they get. And this change is intended to nerf that a little bit by about 8%, which is fine. So 75% XP from minutes 0 to 14, then 100% to 300% at minutes 0 to 20. Okay, yeah, cool. Good changes overall. Here are some big changes. These are super awesome. They said that they don't want to make the jungle itself harder to clear, but they do want to make ganks be a little bit less lethal in the early game. So all starting items in the game are getting health and sometimes damage buffs as well. But you can now only get one Doran's item. Bear in mind, you can still go D-Ring Darkseal if you want, which is... Guess what? I'm gonna be doing that this patch. Doran's ring is going to go from 50, or sorry, Doran's blade, sorry. Doran's blade AD from 8 to 10. So small AD buff. Big buff here is 20 health, and bear in mind these are all intended to make ganks less successful by a small amount. So cool. Just a little bit more tankiness, a little bit more damage for the wave clear and for the trades and stuff like that. Same thing with Doran's Ring, from 15 to 18 AP, from 70 health to 90 health on the Doran's Ring. These are some serious Singe stonks right here. I'm so happy about this. Doran's Ring is going to be big this patch. Doran's Shield is getting a 30 health buff from 80 to 110. And then the regen is up by 5? So about the same at 25% health remaining. Either way, this is a pretty decent Doran Shield buff, so we will see how that affects things. With other starting items gaining more damage and Doran Shield gaining more durability, it should just kind of be the same in terms of laner versus laner experience. But laner versus jungle should be slightly shifted to be in favor of the laner though, which is good. Dark Seal is not unique to the Doran's items, so feel free to pick both up. Obviously, Dark Seal Doran's ring, baby. What do you think I'm going to do this patch? Exactly. From 40 to 50 health. So overall, assuming I go Doran's ring and Dark Seal, I'm getting a 30 health buff and a 3 AP buff. Dope. Cool. Relic Shield. Ability power up by 2. Health up by 50. I'm a big fan of these support item health buffs because currently I feel like bot lane is also very snowbally. And it feels like when one bot lane gets ahead, they just skyrocket ahead and they never look back. So hopefully with support items having 20 more health on Relic Shield, 20 more health on Spalders, 15 more health here, 15 more health here. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot on any of these, but it can prevent, or with alongside everything else, it can contribute to snowballing a bit less. And there's even more snowballing changes here, or anti-snowballing changes here, so let's get into those. Waterwalking is getting nerfed because it is, as I say, very powerful. I'm always a fan of any sort of mid-singe nerf. This is a mid-singe nerf. The AP is actually going up by a little bit early game, by 8 early game, but the cap's up the same. But the move speed is down by 15. Good, cool. I think the rune is just a little too strong. Like, it sucks for people who were using it in jungle and top lane, but I mean, should mid laners really be just sprinting bot lane literally every single second or every single wave? I don't think so. So yeah, I mean, honestly, even on junglers, the rune is pretty strong too. So overall, I'm glad they're nerfing it. Snowballing changes. Here we go, boys. Here's some even more. They're listing the anti-snowballing changes down here. But really the whole patch is about anti-snowballing, especially the jungle changes that I went over earlier. But here we go. Snowballing adjustments. These are big here, boys. Snowballing in League currently happens very quickly. Yes, it does, which leads to large amounts of games feeling like they're being decided by 15 minutes in. Yeah, try 3 minutes in high elo. This doesn't allow players to experience a lot of the other fun aspects of League outside of laning phase. Oh, I could cry, right? This is beautiful. This might be the best paragraph that they've written all year. They don't get to experience a lot of the other fun aspects of League outside laning phase, like late game team fighting, objective contesting, planning, satisfying item breakpoints, and macro play. Oh my god, I thank you so much for writing that. That makes me so happy. These are some of my favorite, personally, some of my favorite parts about League of Legends. Don't get me wrong, I think laning is an important part of League as well, but let's not kid ourselves. For most people, it's not the most fun part of League, so I think that this is awesome. I'm so happy about this. The problem is more prevalent in high levels of play. Thank you, but it still happens more than we're comfortable with in all skill brackets. To address this, we are making adjustments to many of the systems in League that contribute to to the issue of how quickly games are decided. Thank you, Riot. Whether it's through gold not affecting rune outputs quite so much, shorter death timers being allowing behind players to get back to lane sooner, or dragons not offering as many stats for the winning team, these are all intended to create more time to play before a game feels decided. Yes, thank you, Riot. This is so good, and this is what I was saying earlier at the start of the patch notes, that like these are some of the best changes that they've put out in years, and I'm so happy about that. Our primary goal is to accelerate how quickly teams can snowball early leads so that everyone can access other fun parts of the game, of the mid to late game, which we believe should have a bigger role in deciding games. These changes will reduce the amount of games that are/feel doomed at 15 and ultimately increase the quality of solo queue games as a result. Yes, dude, this is literally the best paragraph that Riot has written all year, and I'm so more than all year, honestly, in years. So let's get into it. Dragon, thank God, is getting nerfs to the stacking. Don't you just love currently whenever you're chilling, you're playing top lane, and you know you're playing like I guess maybe Vlad versus like a Darius or something. So not the best matchup for either champion. It can go either way. But you're playing like some sort of matchup, and then you're poking each other, and then all of a sudden, let's just say that like Vlad's jungler happens to get an ocean dragon buff, and then all of a sudden Vlad just, you can't kill him ever anymore because he's healing 2.5% missing health every 5 seconds. Like, that's not very fair, right? That doesn't feel very good for the Darius player, just because something he had no control over happened on the other side of the map that he couldn't even get to. And not to mention, like, the dragons currently, they just give so much value for 1 stack, and they are reducing those stacks. However, the dragon soul impact is being buffed. I think they said by about 18% on average, and the dragon individual stack is being nerfed. I think they said like 30% on average is what Riot Freak said. So let's go over these. basically, and the reason why they're buffing soul and nerfing stack is to make it so that it's still valuable to go for soul, so that games don't just become giant, like, boring snooze fest where no one fights. But you shouldn't have to feel like you lost the game just because the enemy jungler somehow cheeses 2 dragons, right? So, Cloud Dragon is getting out of combat move speed and slow resist down by 2% per stack. Awesome. Hextech Drag is minus 1.5 ability haste and 1.5% attack speed per stack. Awesome. Infernal Dragon down by 2% AD and AP. Mwah. Thank you. Infernal Dragon is so much damage in the game, and that's being reduced. Awesome. Mountain Dragon down by 3% armor and MR. Damn. Ocean Dragon is getting reduced by 0.5 missing health per sec, or every 5 seconds, down to 2.5 down to 2%. So just good nerfs overall all across the board here. Awesome. So happy about this. You have no idea. Especially as a top laner where you don't get to really go on the bot side of the map for the first dragon. I think that this is such a good change. All right. Dragon Soul. Now, these are, again, to make sure that people don't just scale forever, is Cloud Dragon is getting Cloud Dragon Soul, the activation for ultimate, is getting up by 5%. Hextech Dragon, the slow, is up by 5% on melee and range. Infernal Dragon is going up from 80 to 100 base adaptive damage. Cool. Mountain Dragon is going from 180 health shield to 220. Dope. Ocean Dragon from 130 base heal health and 80 base mana regen to 150 base heal health and 100 base mana regen. Fair enough. Cool. Rift Herald. Rift Herald is getting nerfed because it contributes slightly to snowballed game states due to the large amount of gold on kill, the empowered recall, and the Herald itself solidifying leads, not to mention the tower plate gold it can potentially secure. We believe there's room to reduce the amount of reward that it gives, and are targeting the local gold to amount to limit the amount of gold the jungler receives, both when soloing and when taking with a teammate. So, the local gold, currently when a jungler solos it, they get 100 gold from the Herald, plus 200 local, for a total of plus 300. That local gold, the 200, is going down to 100, so if a jungler solos it now, it's only going to be 200 gold for them total, which is awesome. And if the enemy top laner just happens to be there when their jungler is already winning and takes Herald, and they get a free 100 gold, that's going to be down to 50, because it's split between whoever's in the area. So, just good nerfs overall. Awesome. Baron health is going to be scaling higher. I'm cool with that. The base health is going from 12.6k up to 15k, meaning that Baron is just going to be a bit harder to cheese, a bit harder to take overall, and you have to really commit to the objective whenever you're trying to take it. There was a game I played just yesterday when the team that I was beating, I still won the game, so I'm not super salty about this, but we were beating an enemy team, and then we ganked the enemy top laner, or we ganked the enemy Teemo in bot lane, and then his team started Baron when we were running up the river and we were almost in mid lane. That's when they started Baron, and they killed it from full health by the time we even got to the other side of the mid lane, is how fast people can kill Baron now, especially in high elo. Like, I know it sounds ridiculous, but you can kill Baron so quickly, especially with the amount of damage that's present in the game. Like, yeah, this needed to happen. I'm glad that they're doing this. I'm cool with it, and yeah, good change overall. This is massive for the early game. Death timers levels 1 to 9 are being reduced. Level 1 death timer is still 6 seconds. Level 2 death timer is down by 2 seconds. Level 3 death timer is down by 2 seconds. Level 4 death timer is down by 4 seconds. Level 5 death timer is down by 4 seconds. Level 6 death timer is down by 4 seconds. Level 7 death timer is down by 5 seconds. Holy hell. Level 8 death timer is down by 6.5 seconds. Level 9 death timer is down by 4 seconds. Awesome. This will help also to reduce snowball, because if you get killed because the enemy I guess Darius just decided to use his W button, then run at you until you died and no counterplay, well, now that Darius will have a little bit less time to make sure that you don't get minions and that you don't get gold and you get experience. So cool. Good change. This is, in my opinion, this entire patch could have been this one change, and I honestly would have thought that it was a good patch. Because, you know me, I hate turret plates so much. I think that they're one of the worst things Riot ever did for the game. But I understand also at the same time why they did it, to make lane bullying a little bit more rewarding than it used to be. But turret plating gold is going down from 175 to 125. I'm literally hearing the choir of heaven sing down to me right now. like sweet nectar and mana from the gods themselves, giving me this patch note right here. Turret plating down from 175 to 125. Did you know, obviously I'm a bit biased here, but I think this is a great change. Did you know that Singed, in terms of gold differential at 15 minutes, loses literally every single matchup in the entire game except for Shen, who is currently the only champion that loses every single matchup in terms of gold differential at 15 minutes in the entire game. And that's because Shen is literally right now an ultimate bot that just uses Radiant Virtue to heal his team. But playing like an actual scaling champion in top lane that doesn't have the ability to fight that hard early is really hard, and because the enemy top laner will just get super far ahead from tower plates, and it feels like you're literally always playing from behind, even if you're doing the right thing, like you're winning fights and stuff like that. Like it's really hard to play versus lane bullies right now, and being a lane bully is a little bit too rewarding right now. So I'm glad that they're nerfing lane bullying a bit by reducing tower plates a bit. I will say that I'm a little bit worried because a little bit scared, because there was a patch a few years, I saw this on the stream, I think it was like patch 10.2 or something, where they reduced tower plates at that point from 160 I think to 140, and then they reverted that a few patches later. But I will also say that since then, since patch 10 point whatever, that and then they actually increased it from 160 to 175 this season. But I will say that since that season 10 era, the game has become way more snowbally. So I think putting it down to 125, awesome, good job, Riot. Very happy about this. Thank you. Rune adjustments. Damage on basically all of the damage dealing runes is going down slightly on every single one. Some of them are going to be getting a base damage buff at higher levels, while every single one is getting a ratio nerf. So we'll start, and this is just to help make it so that the way that Riot Freak described it is basically like if a champion gets ahead, then they're going to be getting more items for their stats, either AP or AD. So like if Zed gets a kill, and then he recalls and buys 3 longswords, then not only is he going to get extra damage from Electrocute from being a level higher, but he's going to get extra damage even more from Electrocute because the ratio on it was 40%. And then he has more AD, so he gets to utilize both of these things way harder. And Riot has felt that this is too snowbally, and I agree. Not only because of the snowball, but it's just going to reduce the overall damage output in the game from runes, which I think that they said that for season 14 they want to get back to the game being about champion kits versus champion kits and not as much about items, and I'm seeing a bit of that philosophy here in runes as well, which I think is good. But we'll start with Conqueror here. It is getting reduced by a little bit of AD per stack. I'm not going to bother going to specifics here, but a little bit of AD per stack, little tiny bit of AP per stack. Basically, let's pull up the calculator here. I will get a specific actually, I lied. So previously, Conqueror would, at level 18, 2.7 times 18 give 48.6 AD at level 18. Now it's going to give 2.4 times 18, 43.2 AD. So again, slight nerf, but a nerf. Oh, it says it right here. Wait, did I do this wrong? Does attack damage at maximum stacks was 32.4 down to 28. I guess I did do the math wrong. Sorry, my bad. And the AD or the AP at max stacks is going down from 54 down to 48. Overall, Conqueror just slightly weaker, which is probably a good thing. Conqueror is very powerful and needs to be toned down just like everything else in the game. I do wish that they would make it so that Conqueror would stack off of Poison Trail again. That was a bad change to make it not do that, so I'm glad that it will. Are glad that they're nerfing it, but they should make it so that Conqueror stacks on Poison Trail again. Cool. Lethal Tempo is getting a slight attack speed nerf on both melee and ranged, down from 10 to 15 to 9 to 13.5. Lethal Tempo is just very strong on champions like Jax. It's way stronger on ranged champions, though, in my opinion, and they're getting a slight nerf as well. 4 to 9% to 3.6 to 8%. Cool. Electrocute is getting a very slight base damage buff at level 18, but a minus 30% AD ratio and 15% AP ratio on it. Reduction. Nice. Dark Harvest is getting, again, a very, very slight base damage buff. Retaining +5 per soul, but it is going down from 25% AD to 10% AD scaling, and 15% AP down to 5% AP scaling. Awesome. Arcane Comet is actually getting shit on here really badly, because Arcane Comet I don't think is as good as Electrocute or Dark Harvest, but it's getting absolutely roasted here. Adaptive damage is only up by 30, but the ratio is down on AD by 15, and AP, oh my god, by 30% AP. Jesus, dude, Arcane Comet is actually gutted. You know what? I like it seems like it's weird that I'm so happy about this, but like the thing is, and obviously, again, I'm biased here. I admit that I'm biased here, but the champion that I play just doesn't really have that good of keystones, like, at all. Or rune choices in general, so I'm just like, yeah, this is awesome. Like, everybody else's toys are getting weaker now, and this makes me happy. I'm just dope, awesome. But again, this is part of the reason why there's just so much snowballing in the game, and they're reducing snowballing here through this, so dope, awesome. Yeah, Comet's getting hit hard, though. I didn't think Comet was that OP of a rune, but they are gutting this rune. Oh my god. Summon Larry. Base damage is up by 10. The ratio on AD is down by 5%. AP ratio is down by 5, but it's only... Ares seems like a bit of a winner here, honestly. Ares seems like it's going to be doing still pretty okay. All things considered, especially in comparison to other keystones. So Summon Larry will be decent. The shield ratio is also going down. Actually, the shield ratio is getting hit hard. Way harder than the damage ratio. My goodness. But the base shield is up by 25 at 18, so, I mean, yeah, decent nerf overall. Fleet Footwork is a bit of a winner, honestly. It's still getting nerfed like everything else, but it's getting nerfed a bit less than everything else, in terms, if you look at it, because this rune's not meant to really deal damage, it's meant to give you, like, scaling and sustain. But the base is up by 30 at 18, from 10 to 100 to 10 to 130. The AD is down by 20%, and the AP is down by 15. Still decent nerfs. Not getting hit quite as hard as Arcane Comet, though. My god, that rune is getting obliterated. But it is getting hit nerfed a good amount. First Strike is also a winner here, which kind of sucks, because First Strike, I think, is very strong rune, but First Strike is down by 1% only. That's all it is. Could use a bit more of a nerf in my opinion, but whatever. Taste of Blood, the base heal is up by 10, and the ratio on AD is down by 5, and the ratio on AP is down by 3. Taste of Blood is still going to be an excellent rune in my opinion after this. It's just getting hit way less than everything else, but it is also the only non-keystone rune that is getting hit here, so cool. Notable runes that are not getting nerfed next patch: Aftershock, Phase Rush, Grasp of the Undying, Guardian, every inspiration keystone, except, I guess not First Strike, sorry, I forgot that's inspiration. But it is going to be a good overall Singed patch, I think, because a lot of the stuff that Singed uses is either getting buffed or not getting nerfed, which is cool. Now Singed does like Fleet Footwork and Conqueror and Dark Harvest sometimes, or a lot of this stuff, but there is a lot of stuff that Singed uses that is not getting hit, so, such as Phase Rush and Aftershock, which I'm cool with. It was going to be awesome. It's going to be a good patch. Let's see. ARAM, don't care. Behavioral, whatever. Ping adjustments. The ping changes they did were stupid, but let's see. Ping changes. Are they changing anything? Allied scoreboard ping is now sent to your pre-made party instead of being self-only. Whatever. I did play solo queue, so this doesn't matter at all to me. They should just revert this. 10 seconds after getting champion takedown, all allied scoreboard pings directed at your champion are visible to the team, so they can just ping you if you do a good play, I guess. The bait ping has been replaced with the enemy vision ping. No more bait ping! The whole thing is replaced with the need vision ping. Okay. They got rid of the fucking bait ping? Oh my god, bro. I'm sure people will just think of a different one to use, or just go back to the fucking question mark. Damn it, Riot. The vision cleared ping and the vision ping will have been removed. Alright, whatever. I'm sure it's still in keybind, so. I actually use the enemy vision ping. I have it keybinded to my middle mouse button, so I think this is fine. Worlds Clash, don't care. Mythic Shop Rotation, don't care. Bug fixes, don't care. Yeah, overall, in my opinion, the best patch that Riot has done literally in years. I'm so excited for this patch. I'm going to be spamming it super hard. And it's going to be a great time. So, If you guys enjoyed this video, please let me know. I usually don't do patch notes rundowns because they just don't, frankly, they just don't get that many views. But I'm so excited about this patch that I wanted to put this out anyways. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace, everyone.